have veterans volunteering in Ukraine, a massive car pileup, and much more.
We have today's weather forecast with Madison and a look at sports with Eli.
Today is Wednesday, March 16, 2022. It is National Panda Day.
We are live from Shroyer Studio H12 on the campus of Bradley Central High School, and you are watching Vox News Today.
Welcome back. I am Alex Wingard.
And I'm Amber Filyaw.
U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met Monday with top Chinese diplomat Yang Jiechi in Rome. No further details have been released beyond that it included the Ukraine crisis. Experts say the meeting between senior American and Chinese officials could have far-reaching consequences, not only for the ongoing war in Ukraine, but for China's role in the world and its relationship with the West. The meeting has also taken on additional urgency as concerns grow in the West that Beijing is not only siding with Russia by not condemning its aggression in Ukraine, but could take further steps to aid its strategic partner.
China's authority is warning that the country's COVID outbreak is becoming harder to contain. Officials on Monday confirmed that more than 5,000 locally transmitted cases, the most in over 2 years. More than 20 provinces are now affected, and millions of people have been ordered into lockdown. That's the worst outbreak since March 2020.
Ukrainian city Mykolaiv is bracing itself for Russia's advance. Only 10 homes are left in the village. The fear of annihilation sweeps over it. Rockets have been landing in trenches every night. Electricity, gas, and blood in hospitals has run out. Mykolaiv has been in dire circumstances, but the people of Ukraine are continuing to fight with all they've got, even if some are forced to surrender.
American veterans are coming to assist Ukraine. The veterans are training many volunteers. These people are teachers, lawyers, bus drivers, and welders. Ben Butch said, quote, "They're here every day dutifully, working as diligently as any Marine I've trained, and I've trained a lot, and they don't complain. They continue to move. They are at the point now we've worked progressionally to make the leaders emerge because leadership is going to be necessary for coordination and for anything they have emerged. We now know there's bone to this organization, and that gives me a great deal of confidence because I'm not going to be here forever, and it's hard for me to get closer to them," end quote.
The Federal Reserve is expected to increase interest rates when it meets today. It's kept them low to support job growth in the economy. The hope now is to curb inflation. The FED has kept rates at zero since the pandemic started. That's helped the economy by helping businesses and consumers borrow and spend money. That ability to spend has boosted demand for big-ticket items, but now supply is struggling to keep up. Add to that, rising energy costs and new numbers show a 7.9 increase in the consumer price index year over year. Inflation is so bad that some experts worry about a recession. The hope is that an interest rate increase will lower the cost of living for average Americans.
That came in his video address to leaders of the UK-led Joint Expeditionary Force on Tuesday. Here's what he had to say. "For years we have been hearing about how the door is supposedly open to NATO membership, but now we hear that we cannot enter. And it is true, and it must be acknowledged. I am glad that our people are beginning to understand this and rely on themselves and on our partners who assist us.
It's been about 20 years since 9/11, and the cases are still being worked out. Defense attorneys and prosecutors are working on the plea agreement that would avoid a death penalty trial for the detainees. As you might know, the case involves the man accused of being the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. The case has been in pre-trial hearing for almost 10 years. If the lawyers do reach an agreement, what's sure to be a complicated and long trial would be avoided.
Today, Wednesday, March 16th, is National Panda Day. Pandas are among the world's most vulnerable species, although they are no longer considered endangered. There are less than 2,000 of them in the world, partly because panda breeding programs are uncommon. Pandas usually isolate themselves while in the world. Their diet consists mainly of plants. Unlike most bears, pandas don't hibernate during the winter.
Dozens of vehicles were caught in a huge weekend pileup after a snowstorm in Lower Allen Township, Pennsylvania. Traffic was halted in both directions for roughly 3 hours on Route 581 Saturday. More than 20 tow trucks were needed to clear the wreckage, and buses were called to the scene to transfer some of the drivers to a fire station. A few injuries were reported, but none were considered serious.
Firefighters in St. Louis responded to a call Friday morning about 4 people in a car. When they arrived on the scene, they found 4 unresponsive people inside. One was an infant. The others were an 8-year-old girl, a 9-year-old girl, and a 28-year-old woman. First responders reported a strong odor of exhaust fumes when they opened the vehicle doors. All 4 people were taken to the hospital, and the infant died there. The others are in serious condition. Investigators are working to determine what happened. Police are asking people without shelter to go to warming centers instead of sleeping in vehicles.
Now let's check on our weather. Madison, what can you tell us?
I'm Madison Johnston with your weather. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather at glance for today. Right now in Cleveland is 42 degrees with a high today listed at 65 and a low of 49. Precipitation has been listed at 15% with no wind. Humidity is at 100%. The dew point is 50 degrees. Pressure is 30.6 inches. The visibility is 4 miles and the UV index is 0 out of 10. And now let's look at our local radar. The storms that we have had are pushing off to the east and will be moving out soon. And now let's look at our national radar. Like I said before, the storms are moving out of the area and moving off towards the Atlantic Ocean, along with some storms up in the north. And now let's look at our 7-day weather. Thursday will be partly cloudy skies with a high of 71 and a low of 47. Friday, the rain will return with a high of 66 and a low of 47. Saturday, we'll have partly cloudy skies with a high of 59 and a low of 38. Sunday, we'll have sunny skies with a high of 66 and a low of 36. Monday, we'll have mostly sunny skies with a high of 72 and a low of 48. And Tuesday will be cloudy with a high of 57 and a low of 39. And now let's send it to Eli with your sports report.
Hello, I'm Eli Dunn with your sports. The NCAA college basketball tournament officially kicks off Tuesday, bringing fans and money to Ohio. The first 4 starts Tuesday. That's 4 games where 8 teams enter and 4 leave to launch the slew of bracket games to follow. Those 4 games traditionally take place at the University of Dayton Arena. But they haven't been there since 2019. That's because the entire tournament was canceled in 2020, and last year every game was played in Indianapolis. It's not the money maker a Final Four can bring, but Ohio welcomes the tourney. Brent Sass crossed the finish line Tuesday in Alaska's best-known long-distance dog sled race. He hugged his team of 11 dogs after winning his first Iditarod title. It took them 8 days, 14 hours, 38 minutes, and 43 seconds to complete the trail, which is the 3rd fastest time ever. Sass also beat out defending champion Dallas CV by 1 hour and minutes. By 1 hour and 8 minutes. The Minnesota-born musher was one of his favorites after finishing 3rd in 2021. The Browns met with Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson on Tuesday, and according to Mary Kate Cabot of Cleveland.com, the Browns organization made their offer to Watson on Tuesday evening and went back to Cleveland in hope that he'll choose them over the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons. Following the news, Mayfield took to Twitter and posted a letter he crafted to the city of Cleveland. That caption of the tweet reads, "With many uncertainties is where my head and heart is. In the letter, Mayfield thanked the city of Cleveland and its fans. Cameron Smith was unflappable as ever on TPC Sawgrass stage that causes so much anxiety through 13 holes in the final round at the Players' Championship on Monday. Smith had only one par with the two-stroke lead on the par 3 17th hole, and staring at an island green, he delivered on the boldest shot of his career. When he punched out from under the trees and into the water on the closing hole, he never panicked. Only after the 28-year-old Australian capped a long week with the biggest win of his career did he lose control of his emotions. This was more about family than his $3.6 million prize, his 3-year exemption to the majors, and his 5-year exemption on the PGA Tour. That's all for sports. Back to the news desk with more news from Amber and Alex.
An Alabama legislative committee has advanced a bill that would ban divisive concepts in classroom lessons and state diversity training, including that white people should feel guilt over the steps of their ancestors. The House State Government Committee advanced the bill with no discussion Tuesday. African American members of the House State Government Committee opposed to the quick voice vote. The bill now moves to the full House of Representatives.
House Republicans pushed through a bill to make further changes to Georgia's voting rules late Tuesday. Democrats say the Republicans are still catering to Donald Trump's big lie that was Georgia's 2020 election was stolen. Republicans say the new rules would exceed confidence in elections. Changes include allowing the Georgia Bureau of Questioning to start examining election problems without an invitation from other officials. The measure would also create a new chain of custody requirements for handling ballots.
On Tuesday, the U.S. Senate unanimously passed the Sunshine Protection Act, meaning the daylight saving time would become permanent. If the bill is passed, this change would occur in November 2023. The daylight saving time would spring forward in March 2023, but stay in this time permanently. For Nashville, this means sunrises in the winter months will be later, but you'd benefit from sunlight a little later in the day. The good news is that there would be no more sunsets before 5 p.m., but sunrises in early January would be close to 8 a.m. after kids are already in school and adults are well into their jobs.
A truck driver from Chatsworth was killed in an accident Tuesday morning, according to the Georgia State Patrol. The accident happened at about 11:30 a.m. on Georgia Highway 225, just north of Carlton Petty Road in Crandall. The GSP says a 2020 Freightliner driven by 42-year-old Nathan Lee Patterson was heading north when he left the roadway and his truck overturned. Investigators pronounced Patterson dead on the scene. The accident caused traffic problems on Highway 225 for several hours, with traffic reduced to one lane.
Wildlife officials in Tennessee rescued an orphan bear cub and successfully placed it with another mother bear who already had 2 cubs of her own. Fortunately for the cub, the mother accepted the young animal into its family, and during the encounter, the officials noticed that the bear had 2 cubs. When they were made aware of the orphan cub, they decided they knew what to do.
A U.S. airman was killed last week at a base in West African County of Niger, the Defense Department said Monday. Staff Sergeant Dennis Melton, 27, died Friday in a non-combat related incident at the Nigerian Air Base 101 in Niamey. The Pentagon did not elaborate on details regarding the incident, saying that the case remained under investigation. Melton, a native of Waverly, Tennessee, was assigned to 20th Security Forces Squadron, which is responsible for the safety at Shaw Air Force Base, which is located 35 miles east of Columbia, South Carolina.
Starbucks has a love-hate relationship with its cups. The company's white or sometimes holiday-themed logo and emblazoned paper cups for hot drinks and clear plastic cups for cold drinks are instantly recognizable symbols of the brand. But that's not entirely a good thing. That's because the cups are disposable. When they are thrown away, the cups end up in landfills or as litter in streets and waterways. Some might be recycled, but recycling is an imperfect option. Recyclable items still end up in landfills. The best solution, eliminating the disposable cup, Starbucks Chief Sustainability Officer Michael Kabori said. He called that option the Holy Grail. By 2025, the company wants every customer to be able to use their own mug easily or borrow a ceramic or reusable to-go mug from their local Starbucks. That could mean rolling out more borrow a mug programs that require a deposit.
An undercover operation by special agents with the TBI Human Trafficking Unit, Dayton Police Department, 12th Judicial District Attorney General's Office, Homeland Security Investigation, and TBI's Tennessee Human Trafficking Task Force has resulted in the arrest of 5 men accused of seeking illicit sex from minors. Using several decoy advertisements on websites known to be linked to prostitution and commercial sex in the 2-day operation to address human trafficking in East Tennessee. The focus of the operation was to identify those who tried to engage in commercial sex acts with minors. 5 men were arrested from Dayton, Spring City, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, and Ottawa. They are all being held at the Ray County Jail on a $25,000 bond.
Texas authorities are investigating a fatal crash involving the University of Southwest men's and women's golf team's bus. The state's Department of Public Safety says the vehicle taking the student athletes from a tournament struck a Ford F-150 head-on Tuesday night. The collision sparked a fire that officials said could be seen miles away. Fatalities were reported in both vehicles, but authorities have not released the identities of the victims. The Texas Highway District crash team is investigating the incident. The cause of the accident has not been confirmed.
He's expected to appeal to Americans for more help as Russia intensifies the bombardments. Zelensky's virtual speech to the House and Senate comes as the U.S. is under pressure from Ukraine to supply more military assistance to the embattled country. He's expected to call for the U.S. to help and force a no-fly zone in Ukraine to protect civilians and provide fighter aircraft for Ukrainians to defend themselves. These two controversial opinions divide lawmakers. Republicans and more are supportive of giving Ukraine jets. Some Democrats and the White House worry Russia could see this move as escalatory, potentially drawing America into war. Lawmakers of both parties are wary of a no-fly zone at this time because they think it could pit the U.S. directly against Russia in the skies over Ukraine.
Bradley County Schools Arts Alive Showcase, an extravaganza highlighting BCHS fine arts programs, will be held at Lake Forest Middle School on Friday, March 18th. This is the second event in the Greatest Schools on Earth series for Bradley County Schools. The events will feature fine arts students from school in the district. There will be musical performances by elementary schools, show choir, and band performances by middle and high schools. For more information, contact Jeremiah Pritchard at Lake Forest Middle School.
Assistant Principal Robert E. Pritchard will serve as the next principal of Cleveland High School and will replace Autumn O'Brien, who is leaving to become the Director of Academics for Cleveland City School District. Pritchard has been a part of Cleveland City Schools since 2012, serving as a math teacher, instructional facilitator, and assistant principal at both Mayfield Elementary and Cleveland High School. He has lived in Bradley County his entire life and has children in the school system. O'Brien will continue to lead Cleveland High School through the end of June, with Pritchard taking the helm starting on July 1st, 2022.
We are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube through our channel BCHS VOX News.
You will also find more online at our website, voxnews.net.
Remind your friends to like, subscribe, share, and tune in.
You just cannot get enough of Vox.
That is all we have for you today from Studio H12 at Bradley Central.
And a special thank you to those of you watching in preparation for your Skills USA competition. And as always,
God bless and go Bears!